the President of the Viti Spinal Injuries Association, Mr. Paul Magoon and Mrs. Magoon, the Acting British High Commissioner, Mr. Adniel Salter and Mrs. Salter, the staff and committee members of the Viti Spinal Injuries Association, Mr. Max Olsen and Mrs. Olsen, Mr. Clifford Morris and Mrs. Morris, the sponsors and supporters of the Viti Spinal Injuries Association of Fiji, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Nisa Mbulavinaka, Salam Alaikum, Namaste. It is indeed an immense pleasure as well as an honor for me to stand here before you all as chief guest on this special occasion to help raise much needed funds for the Viti Spinal Injuries Association of Fiji. I use the words stand here deliberately because the very act of me standing here talking to you is an impossible task for many of you who are suffering from spinal injury. But I am deeply conscious, as indeed your families and friends are, of your predicament. How often have you stopped and asked yourself how lucky we are to be able to walk? For most people, the answer is never. And although there is nothing wrong with that answer, it is easy to understand why we take the freedom of walking for granted. But it's not just walking that we take for granted. There are numerous simple chores like going to the bathroom, showering, washing yourself, making yourself breakfast. To a person suffering from a spinal injury, these are no longer just simple chores. These are almost impossible challenges, and yet they are the very challenges that must be deliberately addressed and overcome each and every day. But what can we all do about it? There is no magical cure yet. And without adequate support, encouragement, and equipment, there is a high chance that our loved ones suffering from spinal injuries will eventually fall into a spiral of negativity that once entered is almost impossible to come out of. And it is for that very reason why Viti Spinal Injuries Association of Fiji was created. For those who are unfamiliar with the cause, the VSIAF was originally established in 2007 with the main purpose of providing assistance to people with spinal cord injuries and the physically challenged throughout Fiji. And it was a much needed necessity. Because the unfortunate reality is that spinal cord injuries can happen to anyone, anywhere. It can happen in a split second through an accident, during work, on the sports field, or gradually through sickness or deteriorating health. Once it happens, life changes forever, not only for the individual, but also for the family. And let us be brutally honest. Having a spinal injury in Fiji is not going to be easy. We do not have the technology nor the infrastructure to help everyone. We have limited budgets, and we are years away from ensuring that everyone has access to wheelchairs, ramps to enter buildings, and medication to ease the suffering. But we are actively and aggressively being proactive and are now addressing this situation. And where there is action, there is hope. And where there is hope, there is a future. And that is the reason why we are all here tonight, to create hope and to help build a future for all those suffering from spinal injuries. Ladies and gentlemen, Over the past 8 years, VSIAF has provided personal support, member networks, community peer support, equipment loan, database access information services, individual upgrading projects, community linking program, and community development projects. But these activities would not be possible without the dedication and passion from families, the hardworking staff, the numerous volunteers, and the generous financial help from people such as yourselves, and the corporate sponsorship from many notable businesses, large and small. They know who they are. They stand out because their generosity makes things possible. And with their continuing financial support, the association will continue to make a considerable difference to people's lives, one deliberate step at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, I am greatly aware of the many projects that the association has been involved with. I have no doubts that all the recipients of the assistance from the association have been inspired to remain positive about life, especially when they are provided with a more enabling environment for their daily mobility. Part of my role as the head of state is to encourage individuals and organizations in Fiji to work together with government for a number of reasons. At the state or national level, the equitable distribution of limited resources is a critical consideration. It is important that whatever support is provided is done in a systematic, structured, and transparent manner. This requires consolidation of effort by non-governmental organizations together with government. We can spread the limited resources to all those in need, and we can also avoid duplication of effort. The accountability of sponsorship and assistance, either in cash or in kind, must also be managed properly if we are to continue to benefit from the generosity of sponsors. I am advised that the Fiji National Council for Disabled Persons, FNCDP, acts as an umbrella organization for all those that are involved with disabled persons. There is a registration requirement for the purposes of identification and knowing the type of organizations that exist and the forms of assistance that are being delivered. I encourage VSIAF to consider registering with a FNCDP. As a progressive and modernizing nation, Fiji is moving towards a right-based model where the nation amplifies the rights of the individual. You will have noted, for instance, that the Constitution of Fiji now provides an unprecedented range of social and economic rights and freedoms for our people. The paradigm shift to a rights-based model now requires a collaborative and integrated approach from all stakeholders who care for persons with disabilities. The commitment of government to align Fiji with key international instruments like the United Nations Conventions on the Rights for Persons with Disabilities, UNCRPD, which we signed in 2010, and the Asia-Pacific Incheon strategy that was signed in 2012 have given Fiji the lead in upholding disability rights in this part of the world. The government is considering the ratification of the United Nations Conventions on the Rights for Persons with Disabilities. This will, among other things, further strengthen the legal framework for persons with disabilities in Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to reiterate that the VSIAF has a special place in the holistic radar for people with disabilities, and they have demonstrated that there are disability needs that we must work at persistently in order to meet and to fully realize that the concept of inclusiveness is an everyday reality. Tonight is an event to highlight the work of the association and its impact on the key affected population. VSIAF is making a huge difference in the lives of persons with disabilities. Fiji is making a bold stand for persons with disabilities. As a society, we must appreciate every opportunity that contributes positively to people with disabilities. Tonight is one of those opportunities. We are here to showcase the leadership and caring hearts in all of us. It is not about the power in our status, but the ability to contribute to the empowerment of those who are disadvantaged. For VSIAF to continue and to expand its mission and responsibility, it needs all the support that can be mustered. It may be through the families, at the individual level or organizational level, overseas missions, agencies, philanthropic organizations, financial institutions, international partners, or faith-based organizations. The work of VSIAF goes on and is highly commendable. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out from your busy schedules to be here tonight in support of VSIAF. Your presence here is making a difference, and for that you should all be justifiably proud. The fact that you are here helps to make those almost impossible daily challenges a little bit easier to overcome. Please remember that every ticket sold, every sponsorship secured, and every dollar raised goes towards helping to keep the VSIAF running and doing what it does best, offering hope and support to those who need it most. Ladies and gentlemen, so please give generously, and remember that when you hit the dance floor later on tonight, you are not just dancing to great music. You are taking a stand and dancing for those who cannot. Please enjoy the evening. Thank you. Vinakabakalevu Shukriya Bahut Dynavad.